As a doctor, I see a lot of people who are trying so hard to do everything right. They eat the right foods, they take their walks, they never miss a pill. But there's this one moment, this tiny 15-second window every single morning, where even the most careful person over 60 can, without realizing it, be putting themselves in serious danger. And the wildest part, they have no idea. I'm talking about how you get out of bed. It sounds so simple, right? It's something you've done hundreds of thousands of times. But if you're over 60, especially if you're on blood pressure or heart medication, that 15-second routine you've had for decades might be one of the riskiest things you do all day. Let me tell you about a patient. Let's call him William. William was 74, a retired school teacher, active, always had a smile. He was on a common blood pressure medication and a statin. His numbers were great. Every time I saw him, he'd talk about his grandkids. One Thursday morning, my phone rings early. It's William's son. He's panicked. Dr. Harrison, Dad's on the bathroom floor. He just went down. William didn't have a heart attack. He didn't have a stroke. He just got out of bed same way he always did. But that morning, his body couldn't keep up. That one simple habit, the one he'd never even thought about, almost cost him everything. I'm Dr. Robert Harrison, and for over 25 years, I've been caring for people's hearts. What I'm going to share with you today is one of the most consistently missed dangers in older adults. It's not because we don't know the science we do, it's because it almost never gets talked about in a short 15-minute doctor's visit. It all happens in the first minute of your day, and by the end of this video, you're never going to look at your morning routine the same way again. I'm also going to give you a specific research-backed 7-step protocol that takes less than 3 minutes and will completely change your risk in the morning. But you have to understand why this matters first. Otherwise, the steps won't stick. So stay with me. This is important. Before we dive in, do me a favor, drop your age in the comments right now and tell me, do you ever feel dizzy, even just a little bit light-aided or off balance when you first stand up in the morning, even if it's just for a second and then it goes away? Be honest, I'm curious. You'd be amazed how many people reading this with you are going to say, yes? Okay, let's get back to William. William wasn't someone you'd think of as at risk. He was sharp. Every morning, he'd wake up at 6:30, pop out of bed, walk to the bathroom, and get his day started. He'd done that for 50 years, but something had been changing silently inside his body. As we get into our 60s and 70s, the system that automatically controls our blood pressure, think of it like your body's thermostat, starts to get a little sluggish. It's a normal part of aging. At the same time, because William was taking his blood pressure medication, it was doing its job too well overnight, meaning by 6 a.m., his blood pressure was at its lowest point of the entire day. On top of that, William, like many people his age, stopped drinking water after dinner, so he wouldn't have to get up to use the bathroom at night. So he was waking up every morning dehydrated, meaning he had less fluid and his blood was just a little bit thicker. So you have these three things all happening at once. His body's thermostat is slower, his medication has made his blood pressure low, and he's dehydrated. And then William does what he's always done. He stands up fast. His body, bless its heart, tries to react. It tries to squeeze his blood vessels and speed up his heart to push that blood back up to his brain, but the reaction is just too slow. For a critical few seconds, not enough blood gets to his brain, and William grabs the bathroom sink, and then everything goes black. William got lucky. His son was visiting. But luck shouldn't be what keeps you safe. What changed everything for William wasn't a new drug. It was knowledge. His daughter, a physical therapist, started asking very specific questions about his morning. What time did he take his meds? Did he drink water before he got up? How fast did he stand? She called me and we made a few simple shifts, adjusted his medication timing, and started him on the very same protocol I'm going to give you. But before I give you those steps, I need to tell you why your body is so vulnerable in that specific 15-second window. This is the biology, and once you get it, you won't need to be reminded to take this seriously. First, there's a real medical term for this: orthostatic hypotension. Orthostatic means standing up, and hypotension means low blood pressure. It just means your blood pressure drops when you stand up. A major study in the journal Hypertension in 2019 found that this affects 1 in 5 adults over 65. Think about that. You probably know 4 people your age, and one of you likely has this. It's not rare and it's dangerous even if you don't pass out. The American Heart Association has shown that even mild repeated episodes of dizziness when you stand are linked to a much higher risk of falls, heart problems, and even cognitive decline down the line. It is not something to ignore. Second, your whole cardiovascular system has a 24-hour rhythm. There's a well-known morning surge between about 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. Your blood pressure naturally rises. Your blood is more prone to clotting, and stress hormones like adrenaline are flooding your system. It's just a more vulnerable time for your heart. Third, this is one almost no one thinks about. Your medications have a trough period, the time when they are at their lowest level in your system. For many people who take their pills at night, that trough is early in the morning. So the moment your cardiovascular system is most vulnerable is the exact moment your medication is providing the least protection. This is called chronopharmacology, and it's something you should absolutely discuss with your doctor or pharmacist. Fourth, you're dehydrated. Our thirst signal gets weaker as we get older. Combine that with skipping water before bed, and by 6 a.m., your blood volume is down. There's less fluid to push around just when your body needs to maintain that pressure as you stand. And finally, that sluggish thermostat I mentioned. When you're young, standing up triggers an almost instant response to keep blood flowing to your brain. It takes maybe a second, but research has clearly shown that this response time slows with age. That extra 2, 3, or 4 seconds, that's the danger zone. William had all 5 of these factors working against him, and he's not an exception. I see Williams every single week. I want to share a few other quick stories because this doesn't look the same for everyone. Comment below and tell me which of these you can relate to most. Think of Patricia, 67, a retired nurse. She knew what orthostatic hypotension was, but she told me she never, not once, thought it applied to her. I thought that was for sick people. She said she was feeling dizzy for 8 months before her daughter convinced her to mention it. It was such a simple fix, adjusting meds, drinking water, and she was fine in weeks. Or Frank, 78, a tough-as-nails contractor, he'd ignored his morning dizziness for a year. Just getting old, he'd tell himself. You know who finally caught it? His pharmacist. During a routine review, the pharmacist asked a couple of good questions and connected the dots. Frank's now 80. He takes his morning slower, keeps water by his bed, and says he listens to his pharmacist a lot more now. And Susan, 64, always in a rush. She'd jump out of bed at 6:30, take her blood pressure pill with a sip of coffee, not water, and be out the door, not sitting down again for 4 hours. One morning in a parking garage, she just blacked out. Her tests were all fine, but once her doctor asked the right questions about her morning routine, the answer was clear. Then there's Thomas and Linda, both 72, both on blood pressure meds. Thomas's doctor had given him this protocol. Linda's hadn't. One morning, Linda fell in the hallway and broke her wrist. Thomas told me, "We were doing everything the same, but I had the information and she didn't. It felt wrong. That's why I'm making this video." Okay, here is what you came here for. The 30-second on morning mistake is this: standing up immediately after waking up. It's moving from lying down to fully vertical before your body has had a chance to shift gears. That's the core of it. But it's almost always compounded by the factors we just discussed. So here is your 7-step morning protocol. Write this down or save this video, because this is the part I want you to actually do. Step 1, before you even think about sitting up, spend 20 to 30 seconds doing ankle circles and flexing your feet. Your calf muscles are like a second heart. When you flex them, they squeeze blood back up toward your body. Activating them before you stand is incredibly effective. Step 2, keep a glass of water on your nightstand. Drink it before you get out of bed, 8 ounces minimum. This directly addresses that dehydration and gives your system the fluid it needs to keep your blood pressure steady. Step 3, sit on the edge of the bed for a full 60 seconds, not 5 seconds. 60. Use a timer if you have to. This gives your body a chance to adjust to being partially upright before you go all the way up. This is a standard recommendation in geriatric medicine because it works. Step 4. When you do stand, stand next to something you can hold. Your nightstand, the bedpost, the wall. Not because you're weak, but because you're giving yourself a safety net for those first few critical seconds while your body adjusts. This is just smart planning. Step 5. Ask your pharmacist this specific question. Based on my medications, is there a time of day to take them that would be safer for my morning risk? Your pharmacist knows your whole medication list and can give you tailored advice. This conversation is free and could be incredibly valuable. Step 6. Start tracking your blood pressure. Take it in the morning while you're sitting down before you take your meds. Log it, and then at your next doctor's visit, ask this exact question. Can you check my blood pressure lying down and then standing up? This is called an orthostatic blood pressure test. It takes 2 minutes and tells your doctor immediately if you have this condition. Many patients have never had it done. You know to ask for it. Step 7. Share this with everyone in your household who takes blood pressure or heart medication. Share it with your friends. As Thomas and Linda showed us, having this information can make all the difference, and it shouldn't depend on whether your specific doctor had time to mention it. Now, I know some questions are coming up. You might be thinking, I've gotten up fast my whole life. Why is it a problem now? Because your body's ability to compensate has changed. At 40, your system reacted so fast you never noticed a thing. At 65 or 70, that reaction time is slower and the risk has changed. You might wonder, my doctor never mentioned this. Should I be worried? Honestly, your doctor is not doing a bad job. There is just too much to cover in a standard visit. That's why you need to be proactive and bring it up yourself using the specific questions I've given you. What if you take your meds at night? This still applies. Perhaps more so. The trough period, the time when the med is least effective, is likely right in that early morning danger window. The morning protocol matters either way. And how do you know if you have this? Get that orthostatic blood pressure test. That's the only way to know for sure because symptoms like mild dizziness can be easy to adapt to and not always seem serious. If you have someone you love who is at risk and lives alone, please send them this video. A fall when no one is there is a whole different level of danger. This protocol costs nothing and takes less than 3 minutes. Let's go back to William one last time. William is 76 now. His family calls him a reformed morning person. He drinks his water, does his ankle flexes, and sits on the edge of his bed for a full 60 seconds. He says he started noticing things in his backyard in those 60 seconds that he'd missed for years. He logs his blood pressure and he hasn't had any dizziness in 18 months, but here's the best part. William goes to a coffee group every Thursday. A few months ago, he printed out this morning protocol and gave it to everyone there, 23 people. 4 of them brought it to their own doctors and were diagnosed with orthostatic hypotension that had never been caught. One woman had been dizzy for 3 years and just thought it was part of getting old. The knowledge was there. The test was there. The conversation just hadn't happened yet. That is why this channel exists, to make sure these conversations that can directly change your health and your life actually happen. You deserve to walk into your next appointment empowered with this knowledge. Before you go, I want you to do one thing. Comment below with one of 3 things. Comment protocol if you're going to start using these steps. Comment doctor conversation if you're going to ask for that orthostatic blood pressure test. Or comment sharing this if there's someone specific, like a spouse or a parent, that you're going to send this to today. I read every one of these and they mean a lot to me. And please, if you know someone over 65 on these medications, share this video today. Don't wait. The morning they need this information might be tomorrow morning. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Every video I make is built on real research, real patient experience, and is information you can use to help you and your medical team. Save this video, come back to it before your next appointment. All the steps and questions you need are right here. You watched all the way through, and that tells me you really care about your health. Use what you've learned today.